being the 5th video of my series explaining each Kingdom Hearts game, we're gonna skip past the stuff I go over at the beginning of the first few videos. As a side note, I got the release order slightly off and accidentally switched Birth by Sleep and Recoded. The US got Birth by Sleep first and then Recoded. The timeline's still the same, but we're just gonna go over Birth by Sleep first. That is also the cause of this video being delayed, so I apologize for that. If you haven't seen the previous 4 videos, the links are all in the description below. Despite this game being the 5th one to be released, it's actually the first in the timeline. It's so early in the timeline that Sora and the others are still tiny little kids. The game originally came out for the PSP and it lets you play as 3 different Keyblade wielders: Terra, Aqua, and Ventus, who, yes, he looks like Roxas, 11 years before Roxas even existed. We'll get to that eventually. Anyway, to get the full story you have to play all 3, with the recommended order being the order that's presented, though you can technically do it in whatever order you want to. Before we get to the story, there's an extended version of this video that's for members only. Think of it like this one is the clip notes and that one's more like someone telling you a bedtime story. Not a word for word telling, but a longer telling than this one. So like I said, this game has 3 playable characters: Terra, Ventus, who goes by Ven, and Aqua. They live in the Land of Departure and they're training under a Keyblade Master named Master Ericus. They're training because Terra and Aqua are going to be taking a test to see if they can become proper Keyblade Masters. So yeah, remember when Kingdom Hearts first came out and they implied the Keyblade was a unique weapon that only Sora could use? Yeah, no, there's been hundreds of Keyblade Masters, and also Sora isn't a Keyblade Master because to be one you have to pass an exam first, apparently. So the game starts with some cutscenes on Destiny Islands, and we see a man named Master Xehanort who's just casually carrying a 12-year-old Ventus under one arm like it's no big deal. Something happened that we'll get to in a few minutes that left Ventus's heart fractured, and Master Xehanort thinks Ventus is basically just dying, so he brought him to the world he grew up on. We do the classic falling through water, but not water thing that Kingdom Hearts loves to do. Ven talks to someone, we don't learn who it is in this game, and this person basically says, "Hey, you're kinda dying, so I'm gonna join my brand new heart with yours until you're strong enough that you don't need me anymore." Ven's heart is quote-unquote fixed, and he summons a Keyblade. Master Xehanort takes Ven to Master Ericus, and while the 2 masters talk, Terra and Aqua talk to Ventus, who just has a breakdown when Terra asks him a bunch of questions because he doesn't remember anything. I will note that we don't see this clip of Ven meeting the others until much later in his playthrough, but for the story's sake I wanted to put it at the start. Fast forward 4 years and Master Xehanort is back to watch Terra and Aqua's Marker Mastery exam. With him, though hiding out of sight, is a boy in a mask and an even edgier version of Riku's outfit from the first game. Master Xehanort messes with the exam, and it's clear to us, the player, that he doesn't mind using the darkness. All 3 fight the corrupted orbs, and Aqua's the only one who actually passes the exam because Terra basically is like Anakin, and I can't believe I just made a Star Wars reference in my Kingdom Hearts video. He goes outside and has a brief conversation with Master Xehanort before a bell rings and he goes back inside. At the same time, Ven gets taunted by the masked boy that Terra is gonna leave. And while that's happening, Aqua learns something that we the players don't get to know yet. Ericus was contacted by Yen Sid, who is a Master No More, implying that he used to wield Keyblade apparently, and he informed Ericus that the princesses of Heart are in danger, those princesses being Aurora, Snow White, Cinderella, Belle, Jasmine, and Alice and Kyrie, who aren't really princesses, but that doesn't matter. There's also a new threat:
fledgling emotions that have taken monster form. Yen Sid calls them the unversed.
Even though Terra failed his exam, Ericus basically tells him that he'll reconsider his evaluation if he successfully helps Aqua with the unversed problem and finds Master Xehanort, who left like 2 seconds after he went back inside. Ven tries to talk to him before he leaves, but he can't spare 5 minutes for the kid. When Ven goes after him, Ericus tells Aqua to bring him back, and thus all 3 have left the Land of Departure. Now, to kind of make this as linear and easy to follow as possible, I'll be hopping around between the 3 playthroughs because they all go to the same worlds anyways, just not really in the same order. The game actually has a canonical timeline that I'll be following. The timing's also a bit weird because even though Ven leaves within a few minutes after Terra leaving, he doesn't catch up to him, and he somehow has time to get through Sleeping Beauty's world and then to Snow White's world before Ven even shows up to Snow White's world. Well, Ven gets through Cinderella's world before he does, and Aqua seems to just be the last to every single world. There's only 3 points in the game that all 3 are at the same world at the same time, and that's the beginning, the middle, and the end. Again, there's an extended version of this video that'll be up for members only. This video is just going to cover the need-to-know stuff. That being said, we're going to go world by world instead of following the timeline exactly. So Terra gets to Sleeping Beauty's world and of course runs into Maleficent. She mind controls him in order to get him to use the Keyblade to steal Aurora's heart. She tries to get him to join her, but he refuses. When Ven shows up, he ends up freeing Aurora's heart that Aqua sees flying out the window. Aqua goes inside and hears Maleficent telling Ven how Terra's the one who helped her. Ven leaves while Aqua joins forces with the prince to fight Dragon Maleficent. In Snow White's world, while Ven is trying to get the dwarves to talk to him, Terra shows up and speaks to the evil queen. He says he'll get Snow White's heart for her, but saves Snow White from the unversed. Snow White runs into the woods where she's found by Ven, who takes her to the dwarf's house. Terra fights the magic mirror before he has the queen ask the mirror where Master Xehanort is. The mirror tells him,
"Beyond both light and dark he dwells, where war was waged upon the fells."
And he leaves, having no idea what any of that means. When the queen is in disguise with a poison apple, she drops it, and Ven innocently returns it to her. She sees the Keyblade, and he realizes that Terra's been there, but he isn't there anymore, so he leaves. Aqua shows up last, Snow White's bitten the apple, and she fights the magic mirror again, and Snow White's saved by the prince. Happy ending. Ven gets to Cinderella's world before Terra does, despite Terra leaving Snow White's world first, but neither know the other is there, mostly because Ven is stuck in Cinderella's house the size of a mouse.
Somebody tell me how I got so small!
Well, Terra's normal-sized. Ven helps make Cinderella's dress. Terra finds her after the dress has been ruined, and he helps escort her to the ball after she's been bibbidi-boppity-booed. Aqua gets there around the time that Cinderella is running from the ball and runs into Terra as he's leaving, and she tells him that Ven ran away from home. Terra then goes to the mysterious tower and sees King Mickey leaving with the Star Shard. After talking to Yen Sid, he goes to the Keyblade Graveyard where he learns from Master Xehanort that the Unversed come from the masked boy named Ventus, and that Ventus is the darkness from Ventus's heart. Here's where we learn what happened that led Master Xehanort into thinking that Ven was dying, However, Terra isn't told the whole truth. When we play as Ventus during his second visit to the Keyblade Graveyard is when Master Xehanort reminds him of what happened to him before he brought him to Ericus. He was Master Xehanort's student, and when he wouldn't give in to the darkness to form the Keyblade, yes, that's pronounced Keyblade, Master Xehanort removed the darkness from his heart, which for some reason became a person he named Ventus. In removing Ventus, he damaged Ven's heart, which is why he thought he was dying. After Terra has left the graveyard, Ventus shows up and fights the masked boy, not knowing his name yet, and he's saved by Mickey before his star shard takes them both away. The three each end up in Radiant Garden next. Ven arrives first, with Terra showing up as Ven runs after Mickey because they somehow got separated even though the star shard brought them both to the same world. I guess Mickey just figured Ven ended up somewhere else. Terra is slightly delayed by some unverse before he sees Master Xehanort, and he follows after him. Ven shows up at the front doors to the castle, but Mickey's already gone inside. Instead, Ven finds two castle guards who look kind of familiar. Now, as a reminder, this game is happening 11 years before 2 happens, and all the nobodies from Organization 13 aren't nobodies yet. And we end up meeting numbers 2 through 8 in this game. Ven runs into Dylan and Alias, the two castle guards, who obviously don't believe this random kid when he says his friend just went inside, his friend that they know is a king, but Ven doesn't know that yet. A large unverse flies by and Ven goes after it. And somehow Ven and Aqua don't run into each other, even though she heads to the castle doors and Ven's returned to the central square and there's really nowhere else for them to go. I suppose they could have somehow avoided each other in the gardens, I don't know. Terra sees Merlin drop the Winnie the Pooh book and he goes inside his house. Aqua runs into a baby Kyrie who's being attacked by someone versed, and is helped by Mickey. She casts a spell so that when Kyrie's in danger, she'll be taken to someone who'll protect her, and this is basically the reason that Kyrie ends up on Destiny Islands. Aqua then sees a large unversed and chases after it. Meanwhile, Ven runs to the central square and he sees the large unversed and Scrooge McDuck. He tries to run off after it, but Scrooge delays him by rewarding him with lifetime passes to Disneytown. Terra leaves Merlin's house and sees the large unversed fly by and goes after it. Soon after, Ven goes after his unversed, but he's slightly delayed by Merlin, who, again, brings up the book. Turns out the three each saw a different piece of the same unversed, and so they all run into each other and they fight it together. When it's over, Ven gives Terra and Aqua 2 passes to Disneytown.
He said to take 2 grown-ups.
As a side note, Ven is 16, Aqua's 18, and Terra's like 20. They're not much more of adult than he is, but yeah. This is where Terra learns that Aqua was asked by Ericus to watch him for signs of turning to the dark side, which she hasn't been doing a very good job of, and she's only seen what he's done in each world after he's already left. Also, he hasn't really done anything because he was controlled into stealing Aurora's heart, and he doesn't do much in the other 2 places either. He doesn't help the evil queen, and he actually helps Cinderella. He goes to find Master Xehanort, and he ends up fighting Bragg, who has somehow chained the guy to a pipe. Terra makes Bragg a pirate, and can we just pause for a second and watch why he's like a bug? Anyway, Terra's upset he succumbed to the darkness, so Master Xehanort is like, just be my student. Dark side isn't so bad, we have cookies. He tells him to go to more worlds and to end Ventus. He calls him a Keyblade Master, and that's literally all it took. Later we see Bragg was following orders, though he didn't expect to receive his iconic injury. As Ven goes after Terra, he ends up saving little Yenzo, who's just so small and in a little lab coat. Evan then comes over, having been looking for the boy. Ven catches up to Terra, who says he can't come with him and to go home. He then goes back to Aqua, who tells him he can't come with her and to go home. He stays for a little while longer in Radiant Garden and ends up meeting 2 more kind of familiar faces, a lot younger than we've seen them before. Lee and Isa, who were around Ven's age. If you played 358/2 days, these 2 being friends isn't that big of a shock. Terra gets to Disneytown first and runs into Pete and does the rumble racing. Ven goes next, hears that Terra was there first and helps with the ice cream machine, and Aqua goes last, hears Terra and Ven were there first, and plays Fruit Ball. Side note, I hate Fruit Ball so much. Now technically, whoever you're playing as is there at the end ceremony to get the ice cream reward, regardless if it makes sense for all of them to have the same scene. But this world is for fun, so don't think too hard about it. Ven actually gets to Olympus Coliseum first, where he meets some friends Zack and Hercules, neither of whom mention Ven when Terra shows up. Terra saves Zack, who is used by Hades in this game, kinda like how Cloud is before Cloud. I see what you did there. Aqua gets there last, but only heard about Terra being there through Zack saying,
Once I beat you, I get to take on Terra.
Terra goes to deep space first. Now we all know Experiment 626 is Stitch, I'm just gonna call him Stitch. Terra yet again believes the first person he meets and helps free Stitch. Stitch steals his Wayfinder, one of the charms that Aqua made all of them, but drops it instead of breaking it. By the time Aqua shows up, Stitch has made his own Wayfinder. Ven shows up last and Stitch is in the upside down prison thing. Gantu is a jerk and breaks his Wayfinder, but Ven explains,
Friendship's more than an object.
Friendship. Circle?
As Ven and Stitch are escaping, he kinda gets blasted off to Neverland. Ven gets to Neverland first, and he wants to help the Lost Boys find a shooting star they saw. However, before they can, Peter shows up and he says he saw Hook with a treasure chest. So the Lost Boys go with Peter and Tinkerbell goes with Ven. Meanwhile, Terra shows up and he sees Hook and Smee trying to defend the chest from some unversed. He saves them and ends up helping Hook when he tells them the chest is full of light because Terra is very easy to trick. He goes with them to Skull Rock where he stays and guards the chest while Hook and Smee go looking for the shooting star. Terra fights Peter until it's revealed the chest isn't full of light. He mentions the shooting star and Peter leaves because that means Tinkerbell's in danger. You know, and the kid that you also met, but whatever. Meanwhile, Ven and Tinkerbell go to the camp and find Mickey's star shard, but Tinkerbell is captured by Hook, who also takes the star shard because he's a jerk. He brings the captured Tinkerbell back to where Terra is guarding the chest. Terra frees Tinkerbell, who finds Peter and Ventus. She mentions a strange man with a funny-looking sword, but Ven either doesn't make the connection or he just doesn't care anymore. Hook flees from the croc and goes to fight Ven, while Terra fights a bunch of jellyfish. Terra leaves and the Lost Boys bring the chest back across the water. Ven puts the toy Keyblade he got from Terra in the chest and takes the Star Shard that just seems to auto-work and just, there he goes. Aqua gets there last, and when the Lost Boys open the chest, she sees the wooden Keyblade. And then she has to fight Ventus, who is just a jerk to Ven's things. Ven wakes up outside Yensid's tower, and Donald and Goofy see the Star Shard, and they're just like, you're our friend now. Meanwhile, Terra ends up on Destiny Islands, where he sees Baby Sora and Riku, and when Riku tells him that he wants to be strong to protect his friends, Terra decides to do a bequeathing, which basically makes it so that Riku can wield a Keyblade in the future, which is apparently something that needs to happen for someone to be able to use a Keyblade. Riku also mentions someone who used to live on the islands who left, and this is Master Xehanort, as shown by the brief scene at the start of the game, and for some reason we see adult Riku, I don't know why. After Terra's gone, Aqua's the next to show up, and she can just tell that Terra's been there because she can somehow tell that he's already bequeathed the ability to use a Keyblade to Riku. She considers giving Sora the ability as well, but then decides that one Keyblade is enough for any friendship. And oh boy, you don't know the half of it. Ven goes to the graveyard for the second time and sees Master Xehanort, who reminds him of his past, the stuff that I mentioned earlier about the creation of Ventus. Master Xehanort then blasts him off to land at departure so that he can ask Ericus about it. Terra then sees him in the lanes between, but is called back to the graveyard by Master Xehanort, who tells him that Ven is going to confront Ericus about his past and he's in danger. He kind of makes it sound like Ericus is the one in danger. Meanwhile, Ven ends up in the land at departure, where Ericus is happy he's back and safe, though surprised that Aqua wasn't the one to bring him back. Ven then demands answers about the Keyblade, and Ericus decides removing the problem is better than trying to explain it and fix it. Side note, they keep saying that to make the X-Blade, Ven and Ventus need to fight, so just don't let that happen, maybe? You don't have to get rid of the kid. It's not his fault the darkness in his heart gained sentience. Terra shows up before Ericus can hurt Ven and sends Ven through a portal thing to Destiny Islands before he and Ericus fight. Another side note, we can just open portals, so why do we need to use fancy Keyblade bikes, skateboards, and whatever the heck Aqua's thing turns into? Anyway, they both regret fighting, but Ericus is suddenly struck down by Master Xehanort. He fades into the light and his heart kind of enters Terra's heart because they went for a hug or something. Master Xehanort encourages Terra to give himself over to the darkness and tells him to come to the Keyblade Graveyard to witness the ends of Ventus and Aqua, and then he kind of just messes up the world. As Ven is on Destiny Islands, he doesn't actually meet anyone from there. Instead, Ventus tries to provoke him and says they'll fight at the Keyblade Graveyard and make the Keyblade because he'll witness Ventus kill his friends. And while that's happening, Aqua is at Yensid's tower, where he tells her that Terra and Master Xehanort killed Ericus, which I get that technically, yeah, Terra helped him, but it wasn't his intention to kill the guy. All three go to the graveyard, Terra arriving first, then Aqua, then Ven. Now this scene is the same for all three of them up to a point, and actually has a whole cinematic version we see in the opening song. The shared cutscene ends with Ventus getting turned into a popsicle, Aqua catching him, and Xehanort summoning Kingdom Hearts. Ven and Aqua's scene ends with Mickey showing up, while Terra shows him ditching his helmet and going back up onto the glyph. Like this whole video, we're gonna kinda hop around here. So while Terra is fighting Ventus and Xehanort, Ven is being a popsicle and Aqua is fighting Bragg, who's stalling for time. Then once Ventus jumps down and knocks out Aqua, Terra fights Master Xehanort while Ventus fights Ventus. When the X-Blade is partly forged, we see the last from Terra's point of view, while Aqua, with the help of Mickey, is fighting Ventus is fighting Ventus in his heart, I guess, and I will explain why Ventus looks like Sora going through a phase, just not right this second. And Terra's mind has possessed his armor and is fighting Xehanort, who has now possessed his body. Because yeah, his plan was to possess Terra's body, so that he could live longer, I guess. Once all three win their fights, Aqua is knocked out, Ventus is asleep, and Terra's mind and armor remains behind while his body is sent to Radiant Garden. Aqua and Ven are found by Mickey in the lanes between. They're taken to Yensid's tower, where he explains Ven is sleeping, and
It is almost as though his heart has left. Should it return, he may very well wake. Should it not, then he may sleep like this for all eternity.
once you play all three characters and meet certain criteria depending on the difficulty you played on, you can watch/play the final episode and the secret episode. In the final episode, Aqua takes Ven back to the land of departure, which looks completely different now. We learn what Ericus told her at the very start of the game, that if anything happened to him, she was to basically lock away the world. She puts Ven on the middle throne and transforms the castle into what we know as Castle Oblivion, where he's now safe inside. Aqua is now the only person alive who knows how to revert the castle and therefore how to find Ven. She leaves and somehow hears Terra asking her to put an end to him. She goes to Radiant Garden, where she finds a possessed Terra who doesn't actually know who he is anymore, and they fight. Terra Xehanort turns his Keyblade on himself in an attempt to stop Terra's resistance. The Guardian that's behind Heartless Ansem in the first game shows up, and they fall into a portal into the realm of darkness. Aqua dives in after him, but can't stop either of them falling. Aqua sacrifices her armor and her Keyblade to send Terra Xehanort back to the realm of light, while she's now stuck in the realm of darkness. The secret episode is a short thing where we play as Aqua fighting her way through the realm of darkness before she ends up at the end of sea, or the shores between, I forget what it's called. We also see a bunch of point blanks, a bunch of little scenes. First we see little Riku and Sora. This is where we learn that Sora's heart is connected to Ventus, and I know I said at the beginning that we don't know who fixes Ven's heart, but technically this isn't part of the main game, but yeah, when Sora was born, because he's 4 in this game, his heart reached out to Ven's and fixed it. We then see Bragg bringing Ansem the Wise to where an unconscious Terranort is, and this is where he starts going by Xehanort. We then see Aqua going through the realm of darkness again. Then after the credits play, side note, if you skip the credits, you skip this scene, which I didn't know that, and so I hadn't seen this scene before making this video. I wish I had. We see Sora reaching out to Ven's heart, which is basically a continuation of the first clip of this. This scene confirms that Sora is the heart that helped Ven at the beginning, and Sora, being the precious little bean he is, lets Ven's heart stay with him. Which explains why Roxas looks like Ven. And also why Vanitas looks like Sora going through a phase. Apparently Vanitas didn't have a face at first until Ventus joined hearts with Sora, and then that's why he now looks like Sora. Then there's more blank point scenes where we learn that Ericus is in Terra's heart, somehow. Terra Xehanort is now Ansem's apprentice, but still has amnesia. Then we cut to where Ansem the Wise is now on the shores between End of Sea, whatever it's called, where Aqua shows up, which tells us that it's been 11 years because he blows up at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. He tells her about Sora, we see Naminé, and then Axel, and Roxas, and Xion. And finally we see Sora with a letter from Mickey that he gets at the end of the second game, but was written at the end of Coded. So yeah, this game basically explains who the Xehanort we've been dealing with is, and explains why Xemnas refers to Aqua's armor as old friend. Oh yeah, the armor that's shown in the added scene in Kingdom Hearts 2 is Aqua's, and that the other friend in the Chamber of Waking is Ven, and that Castle Oblivion is actually the castle from Land of Departure, where Ven is sleeping inside somewhere. So like I said at the start of the video, I had gotten the release order a bit wrong, because technically it's weird because it came out for Japan before, but for us, US, it didn't, but so we're doing Coded next, then Dream Drop Distance, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to have 3 be its own video, or if I'm just going to go over that one in the whole big video, because it's got a lot of stuff. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.